Talking high school sports, Garen Ame, columnist for the Tulsa World, with my friend and colleague Barry Lewis. We've reached a time of year where I think Barry can take a breath. Is that right, sir? Or
a little,
does that exist?
Just a little.
Coming off basketball season, getting into spring sports. Not that there aren't a lot of things happening in the spring, and with football on at least technically on pause, at least until the teams geared toward pre-2021 season workouts. We do have a hefty piece of news, Barry, that we haven't talked about, at least since you and I have been doing these videos, and that's Gil Cloud, his impending retirement from Tulsa Public Schools. You and I both written extensively about Gil. You know him extremely well. I wish I knew him as well as you did, because I've been an admirer of his for a long time. But what kind of impact are we talking when you see Gil Cloud stepping down as athletic director at TPS?
Well, Gil Cloud has done a tremendous job over the last 9 years as the athletic director for TPS. He took the job at first thinking it was only going to be for 4.5 months, and turned out to be for almost 9.5 years.
Right.
And he not only steadied the ship back when he took over in 2012, because the overall athletic department at TPS was in chaos at that point. So not only did he steady the ship, but he took it to heights no one could have ever imagined back then. Not only doing a great job with new facilities, but also with introducing the Hall of Fame, bringing back so many of the greats in TPS history, and bringing them back into the TPS family through the Hall of Fame and the Legends Foundation. He has taken the TPS athletics to new heights. So just plus being a great spokesman for a representative for TPS athletics, obviously very good with the media, and that's
Right.
a huge part of it. Great at raising funds, because TPS needs to raise funds for athletics very much so, especially during the days of the pandemic. It's especially challenging. So he's just been such an asset and had such a positive impact for TPS athletics, and also for TPS overall.
Yeah.
In so many ways. So it's going to be quite a challenge for TPS to find someone who can build on what Gil's done, and perhaps take it to even greater heights.
Sure.
It's a huge hire for TPS, and they've got about 2.5 months to get it figured out.
Is there someone internally that comes to mind, or is that really hard to speculate on?
It's hard to speculate. Mick Wilson's been the number 2 man for a long time at TPS, and I think if he was interested, I think he would do a great job at it.
Yeah.
Keep on building on what Gil has started there. And a lot of people throughout the years, and this is just speculation,
Right.
don't know anything, have thought that Jason Parker would be a perfect fit for this job at some point. Of course, he's already got a great job as Muskogee athletic director, but
Right.
Jason being having a high profile, being a Tulsa Public Schools graduate from Memorial, having great success at the University of Tulsa, has been successful as an athletic director. A lot of people have envisioned that if he wanted the job, that he would be a perfect fit for it. So again, that's just speculation.
Sure. Well, we'll keep an eye on this as it moves forward. It's an important, you mentioned, Barry, it's such an important decision, whatever it is, whoever gets that position, because just of the challenges. I mean, that's a tough job when times are good economically, right? Just in general, and with the climate the way it is now, we're signs that everything's bouncing back, but still it's going to be a steep hill for whoever takes that job.
It is, and he had thought about stepping down a year ago, but he thought there's no way he could do it as they entered what was going to be an incredibly challenging, difficult year. And amazingly, TPS and all of high school athletics are getting through this year somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, not bringing in a lot of revenue, obviously, because of either no fans or limited fans, but they're getting through this year, and we're having athletics, and which is pretty amazing considering
Sure.
we thought we would be, going back to last summer, thinking what this year could have been.
Well, the basketball games have stopped for a while now, but as is often the case, what starts to circulate is coaching news, coaching changes is no different than the college game after a long NCAA season. And sure enough, the carousel spun a little bit the last couple of weeks. And there's a name that, even if you're not familiar with high school sports in the Metro, if you follow TU, Dante Swanson's name springing up in connection to the job at Wagner. I know that caught your eye and should catch, I think, again, fans of just sports in general's eyes. Tell us a little about what's next for Mr. Swanson.
Yes, Dante Swanson is now the head coach at his alma mater. He's been an assistant there for 4 or 5 years. And he's got a son who's going to be a freshman next season. And so the Wagner job unexpectedly opened up a few weeks ago with Zach Angie returning to his alma mater. So he did a great job at Wagner, building the program back up, and they reached the area tournament this year for the first time since 2010. And then he decides to go back home to his alma mater. And I think Dante, he told me, I think he would have been perfectly happy to keep being an assistant there, but all of a sudden the job opens up and he's the perfect fit there. And so it wasn't a job that he was naturally seeking, but he thought, well, if there's any time, if he's ever going to be a head coach, this is pretty well the time, ready or not.
Yeah.
And, everyone believes he's ready. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he can do at Wagner. He was a standout on their last team to reach the state championship game back in 1999. So it should be fun to watch what he does at Wagner.
One job that I know changed back to TPS for a second is the one at East Central with Coach West. Is that the only one that had a change post 2021 season?
As of now, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Nathan West has stepped down after 2 years at East Central, and he was able to build the program back up during those 2 years, but he's decided it's time to move on. And so it's a pretty good job for whoever will be the next East Central coach. They're going to be moving into a new arena next season at some point. And so it'll be interesting to see who the Cardinals' next head coach will be.
Yeah. I want to talk extensively about Tulsa, the connection between TU and the Metro and high school sports. I wanted to get your thoughts because the last time you and I visited, I think we talked a little bit about Anthony Pritchard, the outstanding prospect from Webster, but he was still a Tennessee Tech commit when we last talked. He has since switched to the University of Tulsa, and I know you can vouch for just how unique a talent he is. And I would imagine you put in a good word for those interested in following a local product at the next level, and how important it's going to be for fans to go see this young man develop.
Yes, I think, first of all, whether Anthony Pritchard was from Missouri, Texas, wherever,
yeah,
he would be a great addition for the University of Tulsa program. But the fact that he is from Tulsa, this could be really huge because TU really hasn't had a high-profile local player sign with them in a long time. And they used to have a lot of success signing local players back when they were going to the NCAA tournament and having success in the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
So Anthony Pritchard, he could be so important in so many ways, not only a good player, but also he could be the first in a line of many players locally that sort of brings back that pipeline between the local schools and the University of Tulsa, that when TU is doing really well, that pipeline is flowing. And it seems like not just with Anthony Pritchard, but with some others who aren't seniors, who
Sure.
TU has offered quite a few local standouts in the area. And that's something that we haven't really seen much in recent years. So it looks like they are starting to go local. And I think that's really bodes well for TU's program long term.
Yeah, and while on the subject, might want to mention this. He's been gone now for over a year. Treyipps, I'm alluding to Trey, the kid who scored what he scored, 41, 43. I always forget, to lead Booker T to the state championship the year before last out at the Mabee Center. I always forget the exact number. I know it was 40 something.
Yeah.
And this is another dose of good news for those who remember watching Trey play for his dad Conley at Booker T. But he'll be back in the Metro at ORU next season. And I know you had a great time covering Phipps when he was a Hornet.
Yes, I think he's a great fit at ORU. Again, he spent a lot of time growing up there. And he had his greatest high school game there. Just think that is a really good fit at ORU. And I'm excited to see what Trey can do for the Golden Eagles.
No doubt. All right. This also a time of year, not just in terms of keeping track of spring athletes and any coaching movements with regard to the end of basketball season, but every now and then the Tulsa World likes to do things like issue awards. And I know you and Mike Brown, your colleague, are loading up on that. Tell us a little bit about what people can check out in the coming days with regard to award season.
Yes, next week, basically the week of April 20th through the 25th, we'll have the All World Awards for the winter sports, wrestling, swimming, and basketball. So the week will be capped off by our all-state selections in basketball. So that's something to look forward to. Our All World Awards, as we name our finalists and all the first team selections and honorable mention selections for those sports as we look ahead to the All World Awards on June 29th. It's not that far away. So everyone will get to find out the finalists in the winter sports next week. So look for your Tulsa World online or in print for all the all world information.
And we'll talk a lot more about the big shindig this summer that we'll put on with the help of our friends at Bill Knight, right, with regard to that event. But in the meantime, Barry and Mike will both be loading up on your award winners. They'll keep track of baseball and soccer and tennis and track. And what am I missing? I don't want to miss it. Softball. Yes. What? Yeah. Golf. Seems like there's like 23 sports you guys got to keep track of now in the spring. Here I think you get a chance to breathe, and then I realize that. So we'll talk more about that in the run up to the summer. Keep reading Barry and Mike's coverage. Keep reading my columns, Bill Hastings' column, and keep watching us here on TulsaWorld.com.